Hey, what's up, guys? So, No Jumper just dropped Adam 22's response to suspect's antics in the previous podcast where he spat and pulled a knife out on Brandon, new No Jumper host. And so I was going to check it out. I thought, you know what, let's watch it. Let's see what Adam has to say, and let's do sort of a reaction. Let's start.
I have an announcement. Many of you are probably expecting this. As of today, Almighty Suspect will no longer be a host on No Jumper. For anyone who's living in a hole in the ground, there was a confrontation last night between Brandon, a.k.a. Bucci Bear, a.k.a. Dark Brandon, and Almighty Suspect that resulted in both spit flying and a knife being pulled out. Both of these are infractions.
Whoa, okay, so Adam 22 just admitted to a knife being pulled out. I mean, if the prosecutors wanted to bring charges, they definitely have enough on camera and have enough evidence and enough people addressing this issue to where they know and they can prove that a knife was pulled out, and they can certainly prove that a battery occurred when suspect spat at Brandon. However, one thing we need to look out for in these statements by Adam 22 is he or No Jumper going to take any blame for what occurred. At the end of the day, they had security there, which means they were aware that there was, I mean, everyone is aware that there's animosity between suspect and Brandon. You had security there because you knew that there could be some issue. And so, let's see if Adam 22 actually takes any blame, if No Jumper actually takes any blame for allowing the situation to occur.
That I fear we just cannot tolerate as a business. Many times over the past couple of years, I've looked back at the Kelpie incident and I have felt like I was a little too lenient. Like, I feel like that incident, even though we managed to skate essentially because we got Kelpie to sign off on suing us.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? He's addressing Kelpie not suing them. Honestly, Brandon could sue them. He could sue them and sue suspect and make more money than he would working at No Jumper for an entire year. Honestly, like, if Brandon wanted to, he could sue them and make more money than he would working at No Jumper for an entire year, dude. And he should. It's like any other employer, man. You know what I mean? You show up to your job, and some dude spits at you and pulls a knife out on you. You better motherfucking sue, man. That's a tort, personal injury type attorneys. They look for that kind of situation. They know, even though No Jumper is broke, you can still get some money out of them, man. They're not really that broke. And then, and that's another thing. No Jumper is too ghetto, bruh. It creates too much of a ghetto vibe, like I was saying in my previous video. It's like the kids to stay the fuck away from in high school. You know what I mean? Look at this. This is a dope fiend right here, Lush. He's a dope fiend. They got him wearing a nice outfit, He's a 40-something-year-old dope fiend, man. And it's just like, bro, what the hell, bro? And then you keep allowing people to get assaulted, to get violated in this environment. Nobody's going to feel safe doing an interview there. Nobody's going to feel safe being a host. It's going to be hard to find good hosts because people don't want to go there, give their opinion, and risk getting stabbed or spat on or getting into some altercation with some person who has an intellect that never developed past the 10th grade. You're fucking risking people's lives. And so let's continue. Let's see what more he has to say.
I think it was extremely lenient of us to not fire sus at that time. And I'm not going to lie, there's been a couple of times since then, in particular with the whole Jalise thing, where it really, really felt like he was on the border of attacking her. That got a little scary for me and made me feel like, Jesus Christ, maybe this is not okay. But yeah, I just feel like we just can't tolerate that kind of stuff in here. It's just way over the line. I have nothing against him. I told him I have nothing bad to say about him. I'm not gonna come on here and trash him. I'm not gonna treat him like a sharp or anything like that. But as a business, the liability associated with having somebody on camera who we have like essentially no assurance is not going to fly off the handle like that. It's just too big of a risk, and it's just not the kind of platform that I want to run at this point. I mean, honestly, the loose cannon situation has been a very bad look for the brand.
This is way worse than the loose cannon situation, bro. Loose cannon situation happened outside, whatever, whatnot. Bro, this is one of your recurring hosts spitting on another human being and pulling a knife out. And you've already had comments for fucking months, if not years, of people talking about how whack Suspect is, you know? And for a long time, he didn't do nothing. He just sat there trying to look cool with some fake jewelry and shit. Now, I don't know what Suspect is going to do for a living, because he's certainly no pimp. What kind of woman would let a fucking little clown like Suspect pimp her out? You know? So it's like, he's certainly not a pimp. He doesn't have a rap career. That shit's over. And no jumper anymore. Man, I don't know. You know what I think? I think if he maybe gives it a few months, maybe something like that, he might find himself back into no jumper. You know, honestly, what Suspect can do right now is make YouTube videos about the incident. That's probably his best bet to try to make some money in the current conditions, you know?
Definitely been artists who are just straight up like scared to come here to do interviews because of the fact that they've seen that clip and they just feel like violence is just a normal everyday thing here. So that incident from last night, not a good look, and we just have to take sort of decisive action in order to avoid that. Now, was Brandon instigating? I think that's fair to say, but that being said, instigating with words is one thing. And if maybe this had been brought to me afterwards and it had been said like, oh, look at the way that Brandon was talking to him, blah, 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 maybe then it would have been a conversation. But the reality is that Sus is the one who got physical with it. And to me, it's an easy decision. If it had been the spit alone or the knife alone, it would have been an easy decision. It being both of them at the same time, it's an
At the end of the day, bro, Suspect has apparent gun charges. He has a stalking charge, right? Adam 22 is aware of all these things. This is why people do criminal background checks. You know, dude carries guns. You know he behaves like this. You know he's a fucking dumbass. And then you put him in a situation where Brandon, you've seen him be violent before. I think Adam 22 is copping pleas in this video. There's ample evidence that you know this guy has a propensity for violence. And if Brandon was smart, he would sue the fuck out of No Jumper. And that's it.
An easy decision. Now, I will address this narrative that I know that a lot of people are going to probably want to run with, since apparently Flacco ran with it in his video. Lush, do you feel like you're at fault?
Not at all. Just like 0%. But I think the whole way it transpired.
All right, let's address Lush, bro. Lush is a fucking dope fiend loser, man. Could you imagine this guy, bro? He has a brother who's the CEO of LinkedIn, right? He comes from a rich Jewish family in LA, bro. And you would think that he has some of these type of characteristics to try to show people, to teach these young dudes something, to teach the people around him something. Instead, he enjoys the trash, bruh. He participated throughout the whole incident. He was laughing as these two were going back at each other. I mean, this guy has no fucking hosting skills. He's such a kiss ass. He's there to appease every little trashy gangster you've ever seen. They come in, he appeases them. They come in, he makes them feel good, and then later he'll talk shit about them. This guy is a fucking joke.
It's really unfortunate, and I wish that there is a way that it didn't have to have this result. Like, I understand from a business perspective, why, you know, that can't be tolerated. And obviously, especially considering the negative stigma that's already kind of lingering as a result of the Lush incident and things like that. But I just, you know, the whole intention when we did when Brandon debated against I Hypocrite and subsequently debated against me was to try to give people a variety in the type of content that we have over here. Because I feel like, I mean, there's been a consensus that we've been somewhat pigeonholed in certain genres of street rumors and activity, etc. And this is kind of like our attempt to ease our way back into highbrow content, or at least a balance, a variety of content.
I mean, a lot of us watch Jubilee. It's like one of the most popular channels on YouTube.
Bruh, if you think Brandon is highbrow content, you are highly mistaken, bruh. You are going lower than the street content. If you're thinking that whatever nonsense comes out of Brandon's mouth is highbrow content, you are going lower than the street content.
YouTube, you know, I love that kind of content. For me, yeah, creating those debates was an easy decision. That being said, I feel like you're trying to pivot away from the fact that you wanted to get Suspect out the paint so bad that you set him up in an environment in which you knew that he would.
All right, guys. The rest of this is normal old no jumper podcast nonsense. Blah 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 blah. Not worth listening to. But anyway, that was my little commentary assessment of Adam 22's response to the Suspect incident. Peace.